Welcome to the story. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and support me. Deadpool hated waking up in places he didn't truly recognize. It had happened more times than he could count, but this was different. The ground beneath him felt soft, too soft, like he was lying on a marshmallow that hadn't had the memo about gravity. His eyes shot open, and sure enough, he was sprawled on what looked like a fluffy cloud-like substance. The sky above was a swirl of pink and gold, with birds, or those birds, flying backward in loops. It was surreal. Oh, great. I am dreaming again or dead again. A few feet away, a figure stirred. Deadpool groaned, already recognizing the red silhouette. Scarlet Witch, Wanda Maximoff, the walking reality warping powerhouse, who, if Deadpool was being honest, scared him just a little. She blinked, disoriented, sitting up in her flowing crimson cloak, her fingers already crackling with magic. "Where are we?" Wanda muttered, more to herself than to him. "Dreamland, apparently," Deadpool said, rising to his feet and stretching. "Or maybe Candyland. I am hoping for Candyland. Honestly, could use a snack." Wanda shot him a look, half annoyed, half weary. "This isn't too funny." "It's a little funny," Deadpool said, bouncing on the cloud-like ground. "I mean, this place is all soft and cushy. Like, what are we even standing on? Cotton candy, marshmallows, something else equally edible." Before Wanda could respond, the ground beneath them shifted, rippling like water. Deadpool immediately lost his footing, face planting into the soft surface. Wanda managed to remain standing, her magic stabilizing her. "I should have expected that," Deadpool grumbled, flipping onto his back. "So, any idea where the heck we are, or do I just keep pretending this is some weird vacation?" Wanda narrowed her eyes, scanning the horizon. "This place feels wrong. It's not a normal dream." "Yeah, I don't dream about pink skies either, so there's that." Ignoring him, Wanda's sense glowed brighter as she extended her senses outward. "We've then been pulled into some kind of magical construct. It's not just a dream, it's a fantastic magical dream trap," Deadpool said, clapping his hands. "Classic move, should have seen it coming." As if on cue, a booming voice echoed from nowhere and everywhere at once. "To escape, you must solve the riddle of the dream, face your fears, overcome your weaknesses, or be trapped forever." Deadpool grinned beneath his mask. "Well, that sounds like a fun challenge. What's that first? Giant spiders, zombie clowns, or maybe some deep existential crisis? Because I'm here prepared for that. I've never had therapy." Wanda, however, was far less amused. "We need to take this seriously. This place isn't just some illusion. It's designed to break us." Deadpool shrugged, pulling out his twin katanas from nowhere, twirling them in his hand. Fine. Serious mode activated. Let's now find the exit and punch it in the face." As they started moving forward, the scenery changed around them. The fluffy cloud ground morphed into a lush green forest. Trees towered above, their leaves shimmering in hues of silver and violet. Birds with glowing wings darted between the branches, their melodies eerie and haunting. Wanda kept her guard up, sensing the magic around them shifting constantly. "Be careful. Nothing here is what it seemed." "Yeah, no kidding," Deadpool muttered, keeping pace with her. "I haven't seen a single taco stand in this whole dream world that's suspicious as hell." The two ventured deeper into the forest until they reached a clearing. In the center stood a large stone archway, covered in glowing runes. Beyond the archway, mist swirled, obscuring whatever lay on the other side. "This is bad idea, written all over it," Deadpool said, tilting his head as he inspected the arch, and yet here we are. Wanda stepped closer, her eyes narrowing as she studied the rune. "This is the first puzzle. We need to pass through the arch to move forward, but only after we reveal something personal, something we fear." "Oh, easy," Deadpool said, raising his hand. "I'll go first. My deepest fear is..." "Don, type." Wanda cut him off, her voice sharper than usual. "This isn't a gay joke, wait. If we lie or done, to take this seriously, we'll be stuck here." Deadpool sighed dramatically, tossing his swords over his shoulder. Fine, deep personal fear time. Let's see. How about the fact that I am terrified of being useless? Dying for real, losing my healing factor, and just ceasing to be." He said it in his usual light tone, but there was an underlying truth in his words. Wanda glanced at him, surprised by the honesty. The runes on the archway flickered, responding to his confession. The mist beyond the arch cleared slightly. Wanda hesitated for a moment, then stepped forward. "I am afraid of losing control, of hurting the people I care about because of my power." As soon as she spoke, the runs glowed brighter, and the mist parted completely, revealing the path ahead. See, that wasn't all so bad, Deadpool said, patting her on the shoulder as he strolled through the archway. Personal growth and all that jazz. Wanda followed, still tensed on, till you get too comfortable. This is only the beginning. On the other side of the arch, the forest transformed into something far darker. The vibrant colors drained away, replaced by twisted trees with blackened bark. The air grew colder, and strange whispers filled the air like a distant chorus of voices. Deadpool Sand immediately went to his weapons, his usual bravado fading slightly. Okay, this is more my speed, creepy horror vibes. Let's do the... Wanda stayed close, her magic ready at her fingertips. There's something ahead. Sure enough, as they continued forward, they saw a shadowy figure standing at the edge of the clearing. Its form shifted, sometimes appearing as a tall, cloaked figure, other times as something far more monstrous. Hello there, spooky, Deadpool said, waving. What's the next riddle, huh? Or do we just skip straight to the nightmare fuel? The figure didn't respond with words, but the whispers around them grew louder, almost overwhelming. Deadpool clutched his head for a moment, shaking it off. Feels like 1,000 voices screaming at one. Wanda stepped forward, her eyes narrowing. This isn't just any illusion. It's feeding on our fears. Before Deadpool could respond, the figure lunged at them. It moved unnaturally fast, its form twisting as it reached out with shadowy tendril. Deadpool dodged, rolling out of the way and slashing with his katanas. Okay, not a fan of personal space. I get it. Wanda conjured a shield of red energy, blocking the creature's advance. We need to hit it where its side weakest its connection to our fear. Right, because that's so totally obvious, Deadpool quipped, though his tone was more focused now. The creature saw him, continued to shift, and for a moment it took on the shape of something all too familiar to Deadpool, a figure resembling Vanessa, his long-lost love. His breath hitched, and for a moment he froze. Wanda noticed and called out to him. Wait, it's not real. Focus. Snapping out of it, Deadpool shook his head and threw one of his swords, the blade embedding itself in the creature's sand chest. I know, doesn't Tara make it any less creepy? Wanda unleashed a wave of red energy, striking the shadow creature directly. It let out an unearthly shriek and dissolved into mist, leaving behind only the lingering whisper. Deadpool caught his breath, wiping sweat from his brow. Okay, that was not fun. Wanda lowered her hands, her face still tense. This place is designed to wear us down. The more we stay, the worse it's going to get. Deadpool looked at her, his usual carefree expression softening for a moment. Yeah, well, we were not staying. We'll get through this magic land or not. Wanda didn't respond right away, but there was a flicker of gratitude in her eye. She turned away, scanning their surroundings. Let's keep moving. There's more to come. They continued deeper into the twisted forest, the atmosphere growing more oppressive with every step. The further they went, the more Deadpool and Wanda began to feel the weight of the dream world bearing down on them, testing their resolve, their connection, and their ability to face their inner demon. Deadpool and Wanda pressed on, the air around them growing thicker with each passing moment. The forest seemed to close in, the once distant trees now looming ominously overhead. The sky, which had been a strange shade of twilight, was now an inky black with no visible stars to light their way. Wanda's magic provided a soft reddish glow, just enough to illuminate their path. As they walked, Deadpool's usually talkative nature had grown quiet. His thoughts lingered on the vision of Vanessa, the way her face had appeared on that shadowy creature. He knew it wasn't real, just another manipulation of this nightmare world, but it still gnawed at him. He had made peace with losing her, or so he thought, but seeing her face brought it all crashing back. Maybe this world wasn't just playing with their fears, it was pulling from their deepest wound. You were thinking about her, Wanda's voice broke through the silence. Deadpool blinked, glancing over at her. What? You a mind reader now? No, she replied, keeping her gaze ahead, but I've been through enough of my own nightmares to recognize that look. Deadpool shrugged, attempting to deflect. Yeah, well, you got the whole tragic backstory thing going for you two, right? So I guess we were both experts on pain and loss. Wanda didn't respond immediately. Her face remained calm. But there was an unmistakable tension behind her eye. This place is going to keep doing this, she said after a moment. It's going to keep dredging up what hurts us. We can let it control us. Deadpool snorted, easier said than done. You saw what that thing did back there. This place... And Wanda said quietly, but we can truly give it the satisfaction of winning. Deadpool fell silent again, the weight of her words sinking in. He knew she was right. They had to keep moving, keep fighting. Whatever this world threw at them, they had to face it head on. The trees thinned out, revealing a massive dark lake in front of them. The water was still almost unnervingly, so with no reflection of the sky above. Instead, the surface seemed to ripple slightly as though something was lurking just beneath. Great, Deadpool muttered, because creepy lakes are always a good sign. What's next? Killer mermaids, maybe a giant squid? Wanda studied the water, her brow furrowing. This is another test, she said. I can feel it. Well, I vote we just walk around the lake. Who needs to swim through a death trap? But before they could even consider an alternate route, the water began to bubble and churn violently. The surface broke as something massive and ancient rose from the depth. Its form was indistinct at first, but as the water cascaded off its body, a grotesque serpent-like creature revealed itself. Its scales glistened with a sickly green hue, and its eyes glowed an eerie white. Called it Deadpool, said, drawing his katana's giant sea monster. Classic. The creature let out a deep rumbling hiss, its long serpentine neck weaving through the air as it sized up the two heroes. Wanda's hands flared with red energy. We can stop us. This is just another illusion, something meant to keep us from moving forward. Yeah, well, illusions or not, I am not about to let it eat me, Deadpool replied. So, what's the plan, Miss Magic? Wanda's eyes narrowed as she studied the beast. Distracted, I'll hit it with everything I have. Without hesitation, Deadpool charged toward the serpent, zigzagging to avoid its snapping jaws. The creature lunged at him, but he was too quick, vaulting over its head and slashing down with his sword. The blade sparked off its tough scales, barely leaving a scratch. Okay, so maybe it's got a bit more armor than I thought, Deadpool muttered as he landed in a crouch. It's no big deal. The serpent roared, swinging its massive tail in a wide arc. Deadpool barely managed to leap out of the way as it crashed into the ground where he had just been standing. He rolled to his feet, tossing a grenade at the creature's head. The explosion sent water and debris flying, but when the smoke cleared, the serpent was still standing, seemingly unfazed. It turned its glowing eyes toward Deadpool and let out another earth-shaking roar. Yeah, I should have seen that coming, Deadpool grumbled. Before the serpent could strike again, Wanda unleashed a massive blast of red energy, hitting the creature square in the chest. The force of the blow sent it reeling back, crashing into the lake with a deafening splash. Deadpool wiped water from his face. Nice shot. Wanda didn't respond, her focus entirely on the serpent as it began to rise from the water again, angrier than before. Her hands glowed even brighter, and she began to chant under her breath, drawing more power from the dream world itself. The serpent lunged at her, but before it could reach her, Wanda raised her hands and brought them down with a sharp motion. A massive wave of red energy surged from her, engulfing the creature entirely. The serpent writhed and twisted, its form distorting as if it were being torn apart from the inside. With one final screech, the creature dissolved into nothing, leaving only ripples on the surface of the lake. Deadpool stood in awe for a moment. Okay, not gonna lie, that was pretty badass. Wanda lowered her hands, breathing heavily. We need to keep moving. Deadpool sheathed his swords and nodded, glancing at the now calm lake, right before another one of those shows up. They continued around the edge of the lake, the silence between them heavy with unspoken thought. Despite their victory, the dream world Sanis was growing stronger, its grip tightening with each step they took. As they neared the far side of the lake, a soft voice echoed through the air, low and melodic. It was hauntingly familiar to both of them, tugging at something deep within. Deadpool froze. That voice it couldn't have been. Wait, his heart skipped a beat. It was Vanessa. He turned his eyes, searching the darkness, but there was nothing there. Wait. The voice came again, softer this time, and Deadpool felt his chest tighten. He knew it wasn't real, it couldn't be, but hearing her voice again after so long, it was like a knife to the gut. The Venti listened to it, Wanda said, her voice low but firm. I know, Deadpool replied, his voice uncharacteristically quiet, but it sent hard. I understand. They continued walking, but the voice persisted, growing louder and more insistent. Deadpool clenched his fists, trying to drown it out. He knew what this was, a trick, a cruel illusion meant to break him, but that didn't make it any easier. Wanda, Seth's hand gently touched his arm, grounding him. "Stay with me," she said softly. He nodded, taking a deep breath. "I'm in with you." They moved forward together, and gradually the voice faded into the background. The oppressive atmosphere of the dream world did lessen, but they had both learned something from this, something about resilience, about fighting through the things that hurt them the most. The path ahead led them to a large stone tower that pierced the dark sky. Its walls were covered in ancient runes, and at its base stood a doorway, wide open, inviting them inside. "This is it," Wanda said, her eyes narrowing. The final test. Deadpool cracked his neck, his bravado returning. "All right, Tower of Doom, let's do this." They entered the tower, and the door slammed shut behind them. The air inside was thick with magic, pulsing in time with their heartbeat. At the center of the room stood a figure, cloaked in darkness, with glowing eyes that seemed to see straight through them. "You haven't done well to make it this far," the figure said, its voice cold and emotionless. "But now you must prove your worth. Only one of you may leave." Deadpool glanced at Wanda, his brow furrowing. "What's out? This guy's still some kind of ancient wizard with a flair for the dramatic." The figure ignored him, its gaze locked on Wanda. "You Scarlet Witch. You possess great power, but it is unstable, dangerous. You must decide, do you use it to save yourself, or will you trust him to do it for you?" Wanda's eyes widened. "What are you talking about?" The figure stepped forward, its voice dripping with malice. "You can only escape if you are willing to relinquish control. Can you do that?" Wanda clenched her fists, her magic flaring around her. "I don't need to prove anything to you." The figure chuckled darkly. "We shall see." Before Wanda could respond, the room shifted, and she was pulled into a vision one, where her powers had spiraled out of control, where she hurt everyone she cared about. It was her worst fear brought to life in front of her. Deadpool watched helplessly as she struggled against the illusion, her magic flickering and faltering. "Wanda." The figure turned to him. "You, Deadpool, you claim to fear nothing, but we know the truth. You fear being truly powerless, don't you?" Deadpool clenched his jaw, refusing to give in. "Nice try, buddy, but I am not falling for your trick." The figure's eyes gleamed. "You fear losing her." Before Deadpool could respond, the room exploded into chaos, dragging them both into their deepest nightmare.